And I say as one of the 4 reasons I want to go to Congress is that last one is to sustain agriculture in our rural southern Minnesota way of life. And I was born in a rural community, Blue Earth, where I live today. Farming very important. It's the backbone of our economy here in our rural part of southern Minnesota. And I see how tough it is for rural communities when farmers aren't doing well. My dad and grandfather, great-grandfather were all southern Minnesota farmers, grain and livestock farmers. I grew up in Truman. Those were my formative years. And farm roots, rural values is one of the signs that we carry when we go through our parades. And so sustaining agriculture in our way of life is very important. I understand that there's been some transition, but we don't have to have government pile on. And frankly, our rural communities are under pressure. Where I come from in Blue Earth, we lost the Walmart. Here, they might be losing a hospital or some of the jobs associated with that hospital. In Fairmont, the same thing happened. In Laverne, we lost 200 poultry jobs. In Waseca, we're losing 350 print jobs. On it goes. Our rural communities need help. The city of Rochester and some of these bigger cities, they're doing okay. Big money flowing in there. But they need somebody out in Washington, we do, who's going to advocate for you, care about you, look out for you, do everything we can. Now, as far as farming is concerned, Carl is right. The input costs are high, the commodity prices are low, but this has been going on for 4 years. This has been going on since the middle of the Obama administration. Many of our farmers in our communities have been in recession effectively. And when that happens, there's no spending on Main Street, no spending at the implements, no spending with the car dealers. On it goes, under pressure. What do we need to do at the federal level? Well, we need to continue the farm programs to make sure that we sustain agriculture. I would want to be on the agriculture committee. I've been out working folks in Washington to make sure that would happen. And I would be somebody that would try to support agriculture across the board to make sure that we were going to be taken care of here. But some of the policies that need to change in the federal government are simply these, for farmers to help them lower their costs. Regulatory reform. I support the REINS Act, which would require all major regulations to be affirmed by the Congress before they get implemented on farmers and businesses and others. Tax reform. You're right. Let the farmers make the decision. Let them expense their items in the current year. Lower the taxes. Do whatever you can to reform taxes. Make it simple. Lower their costs. When you look at energy independence, that's very important. Making sure that we have opportunities to use our United States resources. We have the most resources of any country in the world. And to have the infrastructure, the pipelines, the distribution points, the refineries to keep the prices low. It's very important. Half the cost of a bushel of corn, and some, depending on the price of gas or diesel, is energy. And on it goes. And so, when you look at these types of things that can be done at the federal level, I'd be right there. Exports. We need an administration and we need a Congress and others that are going to continue to export our agriculture products. Our farmers only get whatever that, the price is for that last hog or that last bushel or whatever. And we have to expand our markets. I'm hopeful that President Trump in his renegotiation with some of these deals that he's got going, whether it's NAFTA or the Pacific Partnership, other things, the bilateral agreements, we need to be expanding our agricultural exports or we're going to be in trouble here in southern Minnesota. So those are some of the ways that I look at the issue, some of the ways that I think we can be helpful for farmers in our rural communities if I'm elected, and I would be a strong advocate for you across the board.